The Steam Frame is one of the 3 pieces of hardware that is being gifted to us from the one and only consumer-first company Valve in early 2026. The other 2 pieces of hardware being the Steam controller and the GameCube, which I've already made a video on. Go and check that video out. Link in the description. My own personal experience with VR has mainly consisted of my Oculus Quest 2, which was renamed to the Meta Quest 2 in January of 2022. Thanks, Zuck. Anyways, I mostly played Beat Saber and Superhot. Very basic, I know, but I recently dusted off the headset to play Half-Life Alyx. I'll talk more about Alyx later, but it changed the way that I look at not just VR games, but video games as a whole. I've always had the ability to get lost in these digital worlds, but a few of the more notable games being Half-Life 2, Portal 2, Borderlands 2, and Titanfall 2. Wait a minute, those are all 2s. There might be something to that. Maybe a topic for another video. Let me know if you'd like to see a video about that in the comments below. Anyways, halfway through Half-Life Alyx, I got sick of needing to stop every few hours and remade my entire setup so that I would have a ton more space, as well as making it so my headset would be connected to the charger at all times, just so I could immerse myself even further into its world. But let's get back to the reason why everyone's here today. The Steam Frame. One of the most interesting aspects of the Steam Frame is that it's not just made for VR, but it's also a non-VR gaming PC as well. This is interesting because it means that it works as a PC without any outside input. It runs SteamOS with a Snapdragon 8 series processor and 16GB of RAM. Oh, wait, would you look at that? This also means that you will have complete control over every aspect of your system. You can install any apps you want, you can browse the internet, you can basically do whatever you want, which is crazy for big tech companies nowadays. I'm looking at you, Nintendo. With the Steam Frame, you'll have access to your entire Steam library and the headset itself, something that I just can't do from my Quest 2. Right now I need to use a program called Virtual Desktop so that I can stream my computer to my headset. It's a hassle, and sometimes it doesn't even work right. Plus, the app itself costs money. It's only $24.99, but still, it's ridiculous. Anyways, back to the Steam Frame. Do we have a different name for it yet? Like the GameCube? Steam Frame is a bit of a mouthful. I'm just gonna call it the Frame. A great quality of life addition that increases the frame's ease of use is its plug-and-play wireless adapter. It comes with a dual radio system, one for audio and visuals and one that connects to your Wi-Fi. Because of how this system works, there will be zero competition for your bandwidth. One new piece of technology that is coming with the frame is foveated streaming. This is an optimization method, imagine that optimization nowadays, that tracks your eyes and increases the pixel count where you are looking. This basically decreases the load on your system, making what you are looking at higher quality and what you aren't looking at lower quality. Now that we know the basics of what is coming with the frame, let's go ahead and compare some of the more technical details with some of the current best headsets. The headsets that we will be comparing the frame to are the Meta Quest 3, HTC Vive Pro 2, the Apple Vision Pro, and the PlayStation VR 2. There are over 30 categories that we'll be going over, and because of this, we were going to break the list down into about 4 elements at a time, maybe 5, maybe 3. I'll be skipping a few categories, but there will be a link in the description in case you want to check out the full comparison. Let's go ahead and take a look at the manufacturers. For the Steam Frame, we've got Valve. Meta Quest 3, we have Meta. HTC Vive Pro 2, we have HTC. For the Vision Pro 2, we have Apple, and for the PlayStation VR 2, we have Sony. Looking at the device types, 3 of these are standalone VR, which is the Steam Frame, Quest 3, and Vision Pro. All of these can exist outside of a computer, meaning that you don't have to be connected to something at all times, which is great. However, the HTC Vive Pro 2 must be connected to a PC to work, and the PlayStation VR 2 must be connected to a PlayStation, obviously. The platforms don't matter all that much, so you can check them out if you want to, the release dates as well, and then for the retail prices next. Something that stands out here is that the Vision Pro costs $3.5 grand, which is ridiculous. There are a few reasons why it is that way, but we'll look at that a little bit later. At a glance, the PlayStation VR 2 is the cheapest, however you need a PS5 to run it, and which you know there are no games for. We don't really know the retail price of the Steam Frame yet. My guess would be about $1,000 looking at the rest of these. There is an asterisk next to the Vive Pro 2, and that is because that is the lowest price that also includes controllers. I'm not sure why you would buy a headset without the controllers, but that's just me. Moving on, we're going to go over a few of the details for the optics. The frame, Quest 3, and Vision Pro also use a basic pancake lens. These are flat lenses that are like a pancake, like obviously, and they are commonly used in consumer grade cameras. The Vive Pro 2 and the PSVR both use Fresnel lenses. These lenses are ribbed and help focus light better. The Vive Pro 2, however, has a dual element Fresnel lens, which adds another layer of glass that increases the brightness and reduces light leakage. They all have binocular ocularity, simply meaning that there are different outputs for each eye. And humans have two eyes, so by two, you get it. The IDP range is just how far these lenses can horizontally adjust, fitting a wider variety of people, from close set eyes to wide set eyes. Lastly, here is the adjustable diopter. It is an addition that allows people to insert their glasses prescriptions into the headset itself so that they can use it without glasses. Personally, I just use contacts, but that's just me as well. Next, we have the method of pass-through, which is not all that important anymore. All modern VR headsets have excellent spatial awareness. The same goes for display type and subpixel layout, though I do suggest you take a look at how different headsets have different layouts for the subpixels. Some of these are kind of cool, like the Vision Pro, which is a RGB Pi type, and I don't even know how to pronounce that for the PlayStation 2 VR, the Pentile Diamond, that's pretty cool. Lastly here we have peak brightness. I only really included it because it's kind of funny that the PlayStation VR 2 has advertised their HDR and no one else has. It's just a little entertaining. It is my honor and privilege to tell you that if you have enjoyed this video so far, you should go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. We've got a ton of content in the works, including a lot more about the ominous Half-Life 3, so make sure to hit the bell to get notified when those come out. Now, back to the video. We are now looking at the resolution of the headset. Obviously, the Apple headset has the best resolution, that's basically all they have going for them. However, the frames can be a bit deceiving, but that is because of the foveated rendering. It is definitely one of the biggest advancements in VR technology that will be coming with the frame. It is definitely one of the biggest advancements in VR technology that will be coming with the frame. The frame also has the highest potential refresh rate, at 144 Hz, which is interesting because you would think that the $3,500 headset would have a better one. For visible FOV, the higher the number, the better. Your human eyesight is just about 180 degrees, so the higher the headset can have, the more immersion that you can experience. With lower FOVs, you can sometimes experience tunneling, which can be disorientating. Though the trade-off for a higher field of view is that more processing power is needed so that you can render everything. We have already talked about foveated rendering. From what I can tell, the frame will be the first commercially available headset to have it. You're now moving on to the next slide and starting with weight. As you can see, the Steam frame is the lightest at 444 grams or just under a pound. All of these weights also include the head strap. The frame is actually lighter than my Quest 2, so it's going to be even less noticeable when using. An interesting thing is that the Vive 2 is almost twice as heavy as the frame, which doesn't really make that much sense, especially since it isn't an actual computer by itself. It needs to be hooked up to something else in order to run. Honestly, the colors aren't too much of a make or break thing for me, especially since you can't see it when you are using it. Choosing a headset based off of its color is like spending money on a cosmetic that you don't even see 95% of the time, which of course would never happen in real life, right guys? Similar to pass-through, the tracking type of modern VR systems are all amazing. There are just a few things I want to point out. The Vive Pro 2 does not have internal tracking, which means that you will need to set up a room to use it in, and you cannot easily use it on the go. Another thing is that the Vision Pro has 3 times the number of integrated cameras, which makes sense since you are using your hands as controllers, and it also really affects the price tag. The only headset on this list that needs docking stations is the Vive Pro 2, which we already discussed. Now let's move on to what kind of tracking each of the headsets have. The most notable thing here is that the Vive Pro 2 does not have any of the shown tracking methods. The only interactions that it will be picking up are the physical motions that you are making, as well as the buttons and triggers on the controllers. The Steam frame has both eye and hand tracking, but no face or finger tracking. The Meta Quest 3 has hand and finger tracking, but no eye and face tracking. The Vision Pro has eye, face, and hand tracking, but no finger tracking because there are no controllers. And the PlayStation VR 2 only has eye tracking. Now we're moving on to the battery life life of each of these systems. It has been reported that the Steam Frame will have a battery life of about 4 hours, which is great because the rest of these systems only have a battery life of about 2 to 3 hours. All of these headsets have integrated stereo speakers besides the HTC Vive Pro 2, which they have removable stereo headphones. All of these headsets also have microphones, which is great, but only a few of these have audio jacks, being the Quest 3, the Vive Pro 2, and the PlayStation VR 2. Audio jacks are starting to go out of fashion, and we've seen this with phones for a while. It's looking like all accessories will eventually just be USB-C ports, at least until something new and better comes around. Speaking of USB ports, we're going to move on and look at some of these ports. All of these headsets, besides the PlayStation VR 2, has a USB Type-C port, but the MetaQuest 3 also comes with a wireless charging contact. The Steam Frame, MetaQuest 3, and Vision Pro all don't have wired video, well, besides the MetaQuest 3, but it doesn't really need it. This is because they all have their own dedicated computers built into the system. Everything besides the PlayStation VR 2 has wireless video, however the Vive Pro 2 is sold separately, which is kind of lame. I've also noticed going through this that the Vive Pro 2 has a lot of things that are sold separately. And the Steam Frame, MetaQuest 3, and the Vision Pro are the only ones that support Wi-Fi, and that is because they're the only ones that don't need to be directly connected to another system to work. Finally, we have made it to the last slide. The only headsets with entries in this section are the ones that can be used without relying on another system. The Steam Frame has 16GB of DDR5, MetaQuest 3 is 8GB, and the Vision Pro has 16GB. However, the RAM in the Steam Frame will definitely affect the cost of the system itself. For the storage, the Steam Frame will come out with a base model having 256GB, but you can get a model with 1TB. The MetaQuest 3 has 128GB, but I'm pretty sure that you can get a system that has more. And the Vision Pro 2 is the same as the Steam Frame, with 156 being the base model, and you get one that's up to 1TB. However, the best part about the Steam Frame is the ability to insert your own SD slots. It is the only VR headset that I could find that you can really do this, especially for the mainline popular models. This is really one of the reasons why Valve is the most consumer-friendly company, especially when it comes to video games. You can buy the cheaper option with less storage, and you can just add your own. You could also just buy multiple SD cards and have them used for different things, allowing for basically an unlimited amount of possible storage. And it is finally time to talk about the elephant in the birdhouse, not just the room. What implications could the frame have for Half-Life 3? As we all know, Valve made their VR debut with Half-Life Alyx in March 23rd of 2020, right before the you-know-what went into full swing. Half-Life Alyx showed the world what a full-length, story-rich VR title that was specifically designed for VR could do. It is a game that was made to show off their first VR system, the Valve Index. But what could this mean for a potential Half-Life 3? Personally, I believe that it is possible that Half-Life 3 could work both flat screen and in VR. My evidence? Absolutely nothing. There have been some games that come out recently with both flat and VR in mind. I'm looking at the recent Five Nights at Freddy's game, and from what I've heard, they're both very good. Really, the only thing that slightly supports the idea that they might want to do this is that Half-Life Alyx sold over 700,000 copies. It would totally be sold separately because of this, and would be released after Half-Life 3, probably. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you would like to see a VR Half-Life 3 if it were to ever come out. If you have completed this video, I would like to personally thank you for watching to the end. This has definitely been the most in-depth and demanding video that I have made. So once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.